All right, music fans, welcome back. It's just harmless Dave here talking about real music in real time for real people just like you and just like me. So, there is one thing that could get Styx reunited at least for one show. And they would have to. They would have to all play on stage together. And that, of course, would be the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Now, there's very little chance at Styx getting into the Hall of Fame based on the way the Hall does their selections. They always talk about influence, who influenced what. And quite honestly, I don't know if you can put Styx in a category where they influenced a whole bunch of other bands. They were in a cluster of bands in the 70s and in the 80s that were more or less doing a lot of what Styx was doing. So, for instance, Kansas, Kerry Livgren, says that those early Styx albums actually influenced his writing. And then Kansas had a much more consistent sound compared to Styx, which, because of the power struggle between Tommy and Dennis, or you call it the creative differences that they probably had and still have apparently, you had more of a hodgepodge. Like, you'd have this great ballad that Dennis would do, but then you'd have a rocker that Tommy would do, but then Dennis knew how to rock out too. I'm not trying to feed the stereotype here. I'm just saying the Styx sound was a little bit less coherent and less consistent than the Kansas sound. Although on the Grand Illusion, their best album, I think that was very consistent. Here's the problem for Styx, is that most of the music they made is very mainstream. Okay, most of it. And the Hall of Fame tends to like bands that aren't that mainstream. You would think Kansas would be a shoo-in, right? So if Styx isn't in, I would say, well, why not put Kansas in the Hall of Fame? And then while we're on the topic, Foreigner's not in the Hall of Fame. I mean, you go down the list, people send me this list all the time because I forget who's not in the Hall of Fame. Bachman Turner Overdrive, not in the Hall of Fame. The Guess Who, which is related, not in the Hall of Fame. And you can go down the list of incredible bands that aren't even, I don't even think they got nominated yet. But if you're looking for a Styx reunion, that would be the only one that you'd probably see. It'd be the only way for it to happen. These guys have dug in, meaning Styx. Dennis continues as he walks into the sunset. He says, "I'm not retired," meaning that he'll play shows. I think he's done with recording, although he said, if he writes something, he may record a song here or there. He's still got the bug. He's still got the creative bug. And I think Jim Peterick did a really good thing by getting Dennis to record some material, because it's excellent music. It's some of the best stuff he's done in years. You got to go back to the heyday of Styx, I think, to find the level of material. I'm talking like the Paradise Theater and prior. That's how good this stuff is. Some people like the new Styx album. I think it's pretty good. And you would think with that level of creativity that these guys could get together without, accepting an award and having it be awkward because you don't want to deal with Dennis DeYoung. You would think you could just get together and do a few concerts for the fans, but that doesn't appear to be on the horizon. So in any event, I figured I'd give some people a bit of false hope. In other words, the only way Styx gets back together again is if they get inducted into the Hall of Fame. And hopefully they'll tell Lawrence Gowan that he can stay home. All right? Just saying. Because if, like, Jason Scheff couldn't get in with Chicago, if Bill Champlin couldn't get in with Chicago, then there's no way Lawrence Gowan gets in with Styx. So just throwing that in there.